the citizen participation, sorry to cut you there, citizen participation, which is very key here. You just brought in that perspective because the agencies have always talked about that to the extent that now we have some couple of numbers, series of numbers that people can call.
That's right.
And I'm excited when I talk about, even though with mixed feelings, the Jos incident. Drawing up from that particular incident, I want to see how we can extend it towards what the civilian JTF has been doing, some couple of people have been doing with the agencies, and leading up to boosting the morale of our men and women in this fight.
That's right. Some of the challenges we are having today, especially in security circles and operations, are a backlash of misgovernance over a long period of time. In all that has happened in Maiduguri and Northeast, and in other places where we have different forms of crime and criminality, no one have summoned the local government chairman of any of these environments to say, what do you know or what can you tell us? Why?
So you're looking at grassroots governance now.
Beautiful. Why? Because that tier of government have been castrated. And the governors who do these things do it with impunity. They don't see the dangers of playing down on the last tier of government. So, the federal government will throw a dart on the governor of a state. And the governor of that state has nobody else to fall back on. He wants to get information from the military, which is controlled by the federal government. And that is not possible. You and I heard when the Senate ordered the army chief to relocate to Maiduguri. And the man said, look, I don't take orders from the Senate. I take orders from my commander-in-chief. That is the way the military is structured. So you do not expect the governor to get information from the military chief, except they choose to collaborate or volunteer information. So that tier of government which we have been toying with is also reflective. That the challenge of that bad experiment we have been enjoying and is what is reflective here now. So the governor sends out media aides who have been driving around in tinted vehicles with him all these years to go and get information. There is very little they will get. But if there had been this government running over this period of time, you cannot imagine the quantum of information the local government chairman, the councillors who live with the people would have gathered all these years.
Because
some of them
will feel comfortable speaking with these people, or what?
I keep making reference to 9/11. When the Twin Towers were hit, there was the President of the United States, there was the governor. But when you see some of the roles played by the mayor of New York, you begin to understand how some of these things function. We have folded our arms and watched these executive governors run down the local government administration. And only God knows where this will take us to if we continue to shut up. But since that is not the issue here, the issue is getting grassroots information and collaboration. Right now, as we are planning to reach out to fellow citizens, we are having challenges on who to meet.
Mr. Ubani, I think it's part of the issue. I'm sorry. I think it's part of the issue because you just open a perspective here, because truly, for instance, in Chibok, there's a local government there. Yeah. We have councillors, we have administrators.
Where are they?
In the grassroots.
What do
some
they
of
know?
These people should have been able to get information from some of these locals that will aid and help the nation in solving this.
They live with the people. I also like to draw analogy from my experience in the days of kidnapping in the Southeast. For people who know me closely, who have been to my house, I live in my community. There is no fence in my house and I have no regrets. It's deliberate. Why did I do that? So that everybody from around that aborigine can walk into me and feel free talking with me. And that gave me unrestricted access to information when those things were happening. And I used them effectively. What am I saying? You cannot cocoon yourself from your people and want information to come. How do you expect the local person in Chibok to travel to Maiduguri to talk to the governor? What information does he have? He doesn't have much, unless he's a collaborator. That is the only time you would expect him to have information. But if he's not collaborating with the criminals, then he can't have as much information as the local government administrators who would have been living with the people, eating and dining with them, who know them one-on-one, who know their traits, who know the man who stole a goat 2 years ago, who is likely to steal a cow today, and who is likely to organize one criminal act or the other. So what I'm saying here is that even as we are planning and working on disseminating information on what the people should do to help this, because like I said, it is beyond bringing back these girls. These girls will come. But what is next? What are we expecting? Can the police, DSS, even the military intelligence tell us today that they have a team of criminal psychologists who are beginning to look at the trend of crime and tell us what to expect between 15 to 20 years from now, when I must have been one gray-haired man? What are we expecting? What should we equip our children, to how to deal with the challenges of a fast-approaching 22nd century? Those are the areas I am looking at. So for us, it is our fight. It is you and I now who will brace up to this and tell the people from the primary school to the secondary up to the tertiary on what to expect and what to do.
In this fight as well, I will believe that we would also need support in terms of response from security agencies. I was just looking at the situation in Jos, and I was thinking to myself that assuming the landlord had a number to call, I mean, do you see citizens themselves going into situations to actually, take charge of those situations when they should be seeking for help? For instance, we understand that in the second bombing that went off in Jos, in the terminal market, that they had suspected that car was laden with explosives. And what they decided to do was set it off. I mean, of course, it wreaked more havoc, and they lost more lives in that particular area and caused panic as well. Do you think that if they had maybe some sort of response system, to call on, so that could have been possibly safely detonated, or possibly with least possible damage?
Good. I'll tell you this. I am not unaware of the fact that government is working on response numbers. And I am also very certain that not too long from now, certain numbers will begin to come out. These are things successive governments didn't do. And now somebody is inheriting all the symptoms and manifestations of a terminal ailment. Now, what I am saying is this. There are numbers to call. And that's where I think that you and I have a job to do. There are numbers to call. But do the people know these numbers? You and I in the city, in Lagos and in Abuja, may have them. But do the grassroots people have these numbers? So, we have a job to do, which should not be left to government alone. I have never worked in government, and I am not speaking for them. I am speaking for myself. And when I mean myself, my safety of my children, my family, friends, and that affects everybody around me. So what I'm saying is this. I haven't realized that this thing shouldn't be left to government. Because with all these things that have been happening, there are very few government officials that have been directly affected.
How?
Very good. When the bomb detonates in Nyanya Park, we haven't seen a director general in the Ministry of. We haven't seen a commissioner who was at the park to board a bus.
Do they have to be there to be directly
That's
affected?
what I am saying, that each time these things happen, it happens to the ordinary people. No doubt that somehow they may be related to people also in high places. But when it happens directly to them, it becomes a different thing. But that I am not wishing. And that is why I say, look, for me, not to wait until it happens to me, that I have to do what I should do. And what am I supposed to do? To take information out on what the people should do to protect themselves beyond carrying arms.
So
information is key. Civic education is another. And that is why I heaved some sigh of relief when I saw the director of National Orientation Agency coming out again. This is an agency that had been put in the locker for a very long time. And I keep telling everybody that in any serious government, dissemination of information is pivotal. Even in security circles, where it is believed that security information should be classified, there are three major levels of information. There is the need to know. There is that to hold. And then there is another to take. I leave the last one to take as an exclusive preserve of security operators. I don't expect the chief of army staff or the police authorities to come and tell me or tell us on, on air what their strategy is. No, that is not done. But the first, they need to know. Like an international news medium will tell us that we reserve the right to know. That is something that should happen periodically. People should be aware. People should know what their government is doing. That is confidence. I may be interested in investing in Borno. As a local investor, I don't even need to bring foreign investors. As a local investor, I raise my 2 million naira. I want to set up a business in Borno. The level of information I have should determine whether that money should be taken to Borno or should be taken to Akwa Ibom. So information is important to the people to protect themselves as human beings and to protect their investments.